Hi there. My name's Antonella, a 32-year-old thriving in the fast-paced world of interior design. Life was going great, or so I thought. I had a loving family, a flourishing business, and everything seemed perfect. But all of that changed when my brother, Jake, met her. Antonella, you won't believe it, I've met the most amazing woman. Jake gushed over the phone one evening. His voice brimmed with excitement, and I couldn't help but feel happy for him. Jake and I had always been close, inseparable, really. Our parents raised us to be each other's rock, and we shared everything. Fast forward 3 months, and Jake dropped a bombshell. "I'm getting married," he announced over breakfast. I nearly choked on my coffee. "Married? Jake, you barely know her," I exclaimed, stunned. But he was smitten, head over heels. There was no changing his mind. The wedding came and went like a whirlwind, and just like that, Vanessa was my sister-in-law. At first glance, she seemed charming, polite smiles, sweet laughter, and a knack for putting people at ease. But something felt off. During one of our family dinners, her true colors began to seep through the cracks. "Antonella, still single?" "Don't worry, you'll find someone eventually," she said with a syrupy smile, her words laced with a faint edge of judgment. I brushed it off, convinced I was imagining things. But the comments didn't stop. Cloaked in sweetness, they were tiny daggers aimed at my pride. One day, while helping Mom in the kitchen, I overheard Vanessa talking to Jake. "Honey, don't you think Antonella's job is a bit unstable? I'm just worried about her future." My blood boiled. Unstable? I had built my business from scratch, pouring my heart into every detail. And it was thriving. How dare she belittle it? Things escalated at Jake's birthday party. Vanessa accidentally spilled wine on my new dress. "Oh, I'm so clumsy." "Don't worry, it probably wasn't that expensive, right?" she chirped. I forced a smile, but inside, I was livid. Later that night, I vented to my best friend, Megan. "I'm telling you, Meg, something's not right with Vanessa." Megan nodded knowingly. "I've noticed it too, the way she looks at you when no one's watching. Like she's sizing you up as competition." I sighed. "But Jake's so happy, and Mom and Dad adore her. Am I just being paranoid?" "Trust your gut, Antonella," Megan said firmly. "Keep your eyes open." And so, I did. I watched as Vanessa wormed her way deeper into our family. She offered to help Dad with his finances, critiquing his methods and reorganizing everything. She took over Mom's kitchen, claiming to make it more efficient. But the worst was her effect on Jake. My outgoing, confident brother became quieter, constantly deferring to her opinions. It was as if he wasn't himself anymore. "Mom, have you noticed anything different about Jake?" I asked during a shopping trip. "Well," she hesitated, "he's a married man now. Change is normal. But it's like he's not even Jake anymore." I protested. "Oh, sweetie, you're just not used to sharing him. Give it time." But time only made things worse. Family gatherings turned into minefields of passive-aggressive comments and tense silences. Vanessa's subtle digs chipped away at my patience until, one evening, I snapped. "This potato salad is delicious, Mom." "Much better than the store-bought one Antonella brought last time," Vanessa said, smiling sweetly. "At least I contribute something, Vanessa. What do you bring besides criticism?" I shot back. The table fell silent. Vanessa's eyes narrowed, and she retorted, "I bring class, for one thing, something you clearly lack." "Class?" I scoffed. "Is that what you call being a manipulative?" "Antonella!" Jake interrupted, shocked. Vanessa stood, tears welling in her eyes. "I can't believe you'd say such things after everything I've done for this family." She stormed off, with Jake close behind. I sat there, fuming, as my parents shot me disappointed looks. Later, as I helped clean up, Vanessa cornered me in the kitchen. Listen here, you little nobody, she hissed. Jake is mine now, and soon this family will see you for the jealous, pathetic person you are. I stared at her, stunned. You're delusional, Vanessa. Suddenly, she grabbed a fistful of my hair, yanking it hard. Am I? Let's see what Jake thinks about his precious sister now, she sneered, dragging me into the living room. Jake, look what your sister did, she attacked me. Vanessa cried. Jake's eyes widened in disbelief. Antonella, what the hell? I tried to explain, but Vanessa's crocodile tears drowned me out. I think you should leave, Antonella. Now! Humiliated and angry, I left. The next morning, Megan found me still in yesterday's clothes, surrounded by ice cream containers. That's it, she declared. We're not letting her get away with this. It's time to fight back. Over the next week, we dug into Vanessa's past, uncovering discrepancies in her stories. The college she claimed to attend? No record. The company she said she worked for? Non-existent. Then, luck struck. At a cafe, I bumped into Sarah, one of Vanessa's former co-workers. Oh, you know Vanessa? Sarah asked. Is she still ruining lives? What do you mean? I pressed. And that's when Sarah spilled everything. Vanessa had a history of bullying, manipulation, and even getting people fired. The puzzle pieces were starting to fall into place, and I knew this was just the beginning of the fight to reclaim my family. Careful, Sarah warned, her voice low and urgent. Vanessa's dangerous when cornered. As I stepped out of the cafe, my thoughts spun like a whirlwind. Proof! I finally had proof! Vanessa wasn't the person she claimed to be. But as my fingers hovered over my phone, ready to call Jake, doubt crept in. Would he even believe me? Or would this just push him further away? Standing there on that bustling street, I felt paralyzed, torn between two gut-wrenching choices: protect my brother or preserve what was left of our fragile relationship. One thing was crystal clear: this was only the beginning. Vanessa's mask had slipped, and now I had to decide how far I was willing to go to expose her truth. Weeks of sleepless nights and agonizing debates passed before I finally picked up the phone. Mike, a private investigator recommended by a client, agreed to meet me at a discreet coffee shop. So, you want me to dig into your sister-in-law's past? He asked, his sharp eyes scanning the folder I slid across the table. Yes, I said firmly, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Here's everything I found so far, but I need more. Mike whistled softly as he flipped through the pages. Lady, your sister-in-law's got more red flags than a Chinese parade. I'll see what I can do. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. The news Mike delivered made my blood turn to ice. Antonella, your sister-in-law isn't just a liar, she's a professional con artist. Multiple identities. Fraud charges in 3 states. And here's the kicker, she's using your brother's business to launder money. I gripped the phone, my knuckles white. How? I whispered, barely able to get the word out. Fake invoices, ghost employees, the works. Your brother's company is a ticking time bomb. Shaking, I thanked Mike and ended the call, my mind racing. Jake had to know. But how could I tell him without shattering his world? Before I could decide, my phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. Family dinner tonight. Vanessa insists. Please come. Great. Just great. Dinner that night was suffocating, the air thick with tension. Vanessa was all smiles, but her eyes? Cold. Calculating. Jake, honey, she purred, her voice sweet as syrup. Tell them about our vacation plans. Jake cleared his throat awkwardly. Well, we're thinking of taking an extended trip. Maybe 6 months. I nearly spat out my wine. 6 months? What about the business? Vanessa's smile tightened, a predator's grin. Oh, Jake can run things remotely. Right, sweetie? Jake nodded, a puppet on her string. My stomach churned. Over the next few days, I reached out to Sarah and other victims I'd uncovered. We formed an alliance, a group united by Vanessa's betrayals. We have to stop her, Sarah urged, her voice trembling with conviction. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. The following week was a whirlwind of preparation. Evidence piled up, and a plan took shape. But Vanessa wasn't stupid. One evening, as I approached my car, I froze. All 4 tires were slashed. A note on the windshield read, "Back off, or next time it won't be just the tires." Shaking, I called Megan. "She knows," I said, my voice cracking. "Vanessa knows I'm onto her." "Then we act now," Megan said firmly, "before she can do any more damage." The next day, I called for an emergency family meeting. Everyone had to know. Jake's safety depended on it. Hours before the meeting, doubt gnawed at me. Was I doing the right thing? But then I thought of Jake, his defeated eyes, Vanessa's toxic grip. No, this had to end. Evening arrived, and so did Jake and Vanessa, though not without drama. Vanessa leaned heavily on Jake, her face pale, her performance Oscar-worthy. But when she stepped into my apartment and saw the gathered faces, her expression faltered. "What's going on?" Jake asked, bewildered. I took a deep breath. "Jake, everyone, it's time you knew the truth about Vanessa." Vanessa's smile wavered, then hardened. "Antonella, you're being ridiculous." I ignored her protests, laying out the damning evidence, her multiple identities, the fraud, the money laundering. Sarah and the others backed me up, sharing their stories of Vanessa's deceit. Vanessa's mask cracked, her sweetness replaced by venom. "You're all idiots," she spat. "Jake, you were so easy to manipulate." Gasps filled the room. Jake's face crumpled as realization dawned. "Is it true?" he demanded, his voice raw. "Have you been using my company?" Vanessa didn't answer. She bolted for the door, but Sarah blocked her path. "Not so fast. The police are on their way." Chaos erupted. Vanessa was arrested, screaming threats as officers led her away. Jake sat in stunned silence, the weight of betrayal etched into his features. Weeks passed. Jake filed for divorce and worked tirelessly to salvage his business. I stood by him every step of the way. Months later, as we celebrated the relaunch of his company, Jake pulled me aside. "Antonella," he said softly, "I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. Thank you for never giving up on me." I hugged him, our bond stronger than ever. Looking around at my family, free from Vanessa's grasp, I realized the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. So, here's my question to you. If you discovered your sibling spouse was a criminal, would you expose them or stay silent to preserve their happiness? What matters more, family peace or justice? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of a story, don't forget to smash that like button.